Hello everyone, welcome to our Make It in Germany webinar to the topic of how to make it in Germany. Today is the second of the topic where we are going to speak about learning German and have some tips and possibilities for learning German. So today we have two experts from the Goethe-Institute. We brought you two experts, Mr. Axel Grempe from Goethe-Institute Indonesia and Mr. Stefan Kaup from Goethe-Institut Hanoi. They will later have the opportunity to present themselves. But I'm today with my colleagues for Make It in Germany, Katharina Obanchik and Ish Jean-Marc Janan. And we are going to start by giving you a brief overview of our Make It in Germany website. But before we start, I just wanted to tell you again why it's so important to learn German, because 17 years ago, I moved to Germany. It was my first time and I learned German in order to study here. So I can assure you that it's really, really important if you want to start a new life here in Germany. Even if with English, you can maybe start something, but it's really, really, really important. And one example I'm always giving to people who want to plan to come to Germany with their family, just have to think about it. When you live in a country or you don't speak the language, how will you be able to learn with your children if your children is at school, or if there is anything at school and the teachers require you to come? If you don't speak German, it can be something difficult. So that's why it's really, really, really important to keep in mind. If you want to move to Germany, even if English is not a priority for a visa, it's really German, but it's really, really, really important to learn German. So before we start, Katarina is going to give you some technical advices, and then after that, I'm going to move forward.
Yeah, thank you, Jean-Marc, for the introduction, and welcome to our guests, Mr. Kaup and Mr. Grempe, for being today here. So I hope you can all hear us perfectly. If you have some problems, it helps if you switch out the computer audio in your GoToWebinar user panel and switch it on again. It's quite simple, but it works a lot. And don't be confused. You can use the chat, but only we, the moderators, can see your question. So we receive it and then we can answer your question. You can type in your question in the chat. We have made the screenshot here. So just use it there, and then I try to help you even if you have some technical issues. And we will gather all your questions, and our experts today will answer them at the end of the presentation. And yes, and under handouts, you can download today's presentation of the Goethe-Institute. And I think that's for this now. Maybe if you are leaving the webinar, you get the possibility to answer some feedback questions. So we are happy if you use this opportunity so we can improve our program for you. So enjoy our webinar and welcome to the year. And Jean-Marc, the stage is yours.
Thank you. So, I give you an overview of all the webinar we have in this topic month of how to make it in Germany. So last week we had our first webinar where the topic was your way to Germany, where we give you some advice about how to come to Germany, how to prepare yourself. And one of them was learning German. That's why we are today in getting some more information about that special way or step in order to come to Germany. So today is like I told you, is learning German tips and possibility. Next week we have another webinar about job search and application, because it's also one step in this way to Germany. It's going to be next week, so don't forget to register for this webinar. And then again next week on Thursday we have a webinar about visa and entry process. And then the week after that, we have our last webinar about your life in Germany, where you're going to have some tips again, how to start your life in Germany. So don't forget to register for all the webinar, because in this topic of your way to Germany, because we want to help you good prepare your steps in order to move to Germany. So yes, we are. Sorry. So yes, your agenda for today. So in the first part, I'm going to introduce to you very briefly what is Make It in Germany for people who don't know what Make It in Germany is. And then after that, I'm going to give a word to our two experts who are going to give us some meaningful information about learning German in general. And then at the end, we are going to come together and then answer these Q&A sessions. But before we started, I just want to ask you one question. So the question is going to pop up in front of you. It's just for us to know if you are similar with the website Make It in Germany. So I give you maybe 5 seconds to answer. Oh, that's amazing. I mean, it's like all people already know Make It in Germany. So that's great. That means I want last on the slide about what Make It in Germany is, because the main point today is getting some tips on how to learn German. So I'm going to show you the result, and as you can see, although yeah, 83% of people already know Make It in Germany. So that means actually this part I'm going to be as quick as possible, because everyone already know Make It in Germany. So it doesn't, I don't need that much time on explaining to you what is Make It in Germany. So again, what Make It in Germany is a website for qualified professionals where you can find all information about moving to Germany, but especially this website is for qualified professionals, so people who want to work here in Germany. Website was launched in June 2012, so for 10 years now. Website's also available in German, English, Spanish, and French. And we had over 59 million users worldwide who have already used our website. So again, this year we celebrate our 10 years anniversary of Make It in Germany. So thank you again on this part to all the people who have helped us in this process. And what does a kind of information Make It in Germany can offer you? I mean, a lot of you guys already know that. So just a review. One thing is really, really important: our job listing. We create vacancies, our graphic about different visa procedure, but also a quick check in order to evaluate your chances on moving to Germany. And again, our contact, where you can contact us. So if you are like special information or you need special information, special advice, don't hesitate to contact us through our website. You can send us an email, or you can chat with us, or we hotline. So you have the free way to contact us. So before I'm done with my part, like I told you, I'm trying to make it very quickly, because the main part today is learning some tips about learning German. So I'm going to ask you again 2 questions in order for us to try to know a little bit more about you guys. So what is actually, do you have already German languages? This can be very important for us to know. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, maybe 2 more seconds or 5. So I'm going to show you the results. So, and as you can see, a lot of people, I mean, 48% have German language between A1 and A2. It's actually very good. That means the people that are actually here, the presentation for the webinar, are actually already familiar with the German language. That's great. But that also a great number of people who actually don't have any a German knowledge. I mean, 80 out of 48%. That's actually also a lot. But for this group of people, it's also important to listen, because today you are going to have a lot of tips on how to learn German from your home country. So that was the second question. The last question before giving the word. Wait a minute. So how do you learn German? That's the question. Do you learn German in the language school or on your own on the internet? It can be very helpful for us also to know this information. Maybe 5 more minutes. Oh, that's interesting. Show you the result again. So most of the people learn on the internet on their own. That's pretty interesting. And today on in the presentation of our experts, you are going also to have a lot of tips on how to learn on the internet. So that's pretty good. And I feel that also a lot of people uh, um, already have learned in the language school. That's also something is very, very important. But today we have the expert of the Goethe-Institute, and it's actually the good part to introduce you to to the two experts for today. So I'm going to end my part now and give the word to our two experts who will now start with their presentations.
Yes, hello, a warm welcome from us. My colleague Steffen Kaup and I, Axel Grimpe, we will lead you to our presentation and information on our company, the Goethe-Institute, and what our work is worldwide. Steffen, do you want to say hello to everybody?
Yes, good evening from Hanoi, Vietnam. I'm very excited to be talking to all of you tonight about how German can help you in your life and work life in Germany. Great to meet you all.
And as you can see already on this first slide, we said that German language will be your key to a meaningful life, work life in Germany. Of course, it is of a big advantage if you have knowledge of German and you can speak German. It will make life for you, and especially in the workplace, a lot easier. And that is what we're going to explain to you, what is important and how you can improve your chances. Next slide, please. Yeah, the Goethe-Institute. I'm sure many of you have heard of us. What do we do? You can sign up for language classes at the Goethe-Institute all around the world. But what we also do is we promote German culture. We organize cultural events, movie screenings, art shows. But we also give information on Germany. We do intercultural trainings. And we also make it easier for you to continue, for example, your German studies at the Goethe-Institute in Germany, as you will see later. You will find us all around the world in about 158 countries, in 98 countries. And it's altogether that we work in 158 Goethe-Institutes and offices worldwide. We have reading rooms available for you, but we also partner with libraries and oh, it's a little bit too fast. Please, could you go back? Yeah. And what we also offer is that you can take part in examinations. We work together with universities, for example, where you can also learn German and prepare for your exams. What I said before is that you can also find Goethe-Institutes in Germany that cooperate with us. For example, you can start learning German in Japan and then continue learning German in Germany at the Goethe-Institute in Munich, for example, or in Hamburg. Yeah, so altogether it's about 1,100 points of contact that we offer in almost 100 countries all around the world. And now we can continue on to the next slide. Altogether, we count almost 230,000 students who learn in our courses, and in 470,000 exams altogether have been taken at our offices worldwide. That is quite a lot. And it shows you how important the Goethe-Institute as a language learning program and examination office really is. Okay, next one, please.
Great. Why did we tell you about our network and these numbers? We wanted to show you that we at the Goethe-Institute are available all across the world really to help and support you to get the German you need to succeed in Germany. Our mission and our goal is to help people like you who are here tonight to succeed in Germany, working as a skilled worker, doing an apprenticeship, whatever your goals are. And that's why we wanted to stress the size of our network. So we're here to get you the German you need. And I want to say a little more now about what actually is the German you need and why is it so important. So if we can go to the next slide, please. Jean-Marc already told you a little earlier why learn German. I also picked 5 points of why we think at the Goethe-Institute you should learn German and learn it well. The first point may seem quite obvious, but it's important to stress, of course, that for some jobs, the regulated jobs and visas, it's required that you prove a certain level of German, either B1 or B2. So that's like a formality that you have to pass to even get a visa to go to Germany. But above or besides that, and what's even more important, when you have a good German language level, it really empowers you to grow professionally as a skilled worker. It means that you can participate in further training in your job, advance in your career, get promotions, and the language is really a tool that empowers you to engage professionally and grow. Besides that, it really also enables you to actively use your vocational skills. I've talked to many of our students who work now in Germany and say, it doesn't matter how good your vocational technical skills are if you don't have the language to engage in the workplace. So having the language allows you to put all the technical training that you gained to active use in Germany. And on a more personal level, speaking the German language allows you to connect and make friends, something that is very important for your own well-being. Of course, Germans also speak English, but depending on which city you go to, if it's a little more rural, you might not get as far with the English language. And so knowing German really puts you at an advantage to make new friends. And that's also connected to the last point. It really helps you to become an active part of your community, both your work community, but also the community in your personal life. So if we take all 5 points together, I think we can say that the German language allows you to actively participate in your environment. You have the empowerment to grow as a person and also as a worker. And therefore, it's very important to us that you know about access to high quality language courses. Let's go to the next slide. Jean-Marc asked you earlier if you already have any language skills like A1, A2, and some of you or most of you probably have heard these like, oh, German A1, A2, but I wanted to give you a little overview of what these levels mean and also kind of how long you need to study in a classroom course to reach those levels. As you can see on the slide, when we talk about A1 and A2, that's sort of the beginner's level, and in those descriptions on the right side, the level descriptions, it's really about understanding familiar descriptions. You can introduce yourself and you can understand sentences that you frequently hear that are related to topics close to your kind of immediate environment and relevance. So it's like everyday topics like hobbies, but we are here at the beginner's level, and you can reach the end of A2 in somewhere between 2 to 350 hours. When we move into the B levels, that's like the intermediate language use, where you can move away from just talking about yourself. You can also talk about some more advanced topics. But if you look at the description of B1, it still says can produce simple connected text, simple situations. So I want to stress here, even though B1 is required for a lot of jobs and apprenticeships, to really be an active part of your work and everyday environment, B1 is the absolute minimum. I would always recommend, even if you go to Germany with B1, to continue studying to B2 and beyond that, to move from the intermediate level to the more advanced levels. But you can see here, to reach B1, on average, we're looking probably at 500 classroom hours. And so you can kind of calculate, if you don't have any German yet, how long would that take if you take a language course with the Goethe-Institute or another provider. This is just to give you a brief overview about those levels. The next slide, please. We put together some ideas about what are good German classes. Why are we talking about this? In my country, and probably in the countries where you all live, there are many options for language course providers. You have the Goethe-Institute, other smaller centers, and we want you to be able to recognize, if you go to a center, if the kind of German classes you get will really prepare you for active language use in Germany. So what I'm talking about now is about making sure that you have the knowledge and the tools to really understand if you're getting the German you need, or if you're getting German classes that will not bring you to the kind of proficiency of communication that is really required. And I think what we put in the middle is the main focus. Good German classes should prepare you for communication, meaning interacting with other people, understanding and making yourself understood. And how can good German classes do that? One thing is that they focus on interaction. If you sit in a German class where you primarily do exercises on your own in a textbook, that's probably a sign or a red flag that you're not being prepared for communication. In your language class, there should be a lot of moments of interaction where you have to use the language you've learned with other learners in the class. There should also be active learning, meaning that it's not the teacher giving you all the knowledge that he or she thinks you should know, but you're an active part of the learning process with group work, partner work, and again, lots of moments of interaction. So another red flag is if you're in a German class where only your teacher speaks, that is not going to prepare you for being able to really communicate in German. And this is connected to learner activation. The topics should be kind of relevant to you and should excite you. Your teacher should kind of activate your motivation, your enthusiasm, and connect the topics of the class to the things that you're interested in. And since you are all interested in working and living in Germany, a method that we use in the Goethe-Institute is learning in scenarios, meaning when you learn how to introduce yourself, we have a scenario, for example, you're in the hospital where you work as a nurse on the first day and you introduce yourself to your colleagues, so that we have scenarios that are similar to the experiences you will make in the future, so that you can get the connection between the words and phrases and grammar you learn and the things that you will experience when you go to Germany to work there. So to sum it up, when you book a German course, always make sure that they prepare you for active communication. And if you get the sense that this is not the case, maybe look for a different place to take your classes, because you really want to be able to use your language actively when you're in Germany. And in order to give you some ideas how you can even practice that with online resources that we make available for free, Axel will introduce some great tools and websites that we have for you.
Okay, next slide, please. Well, being in a class that focuses on communication is one part. The other part is, of course, that you do your homework, or the teacher gives you homework. The most important part of learning takes actually part when you do your homework. And well, a certain, for us, very important aspect of learning German is to do it also outside the classroom. Yeah. So we offer you a lot of helpful tips for learning German online, for example, where you can practice your German for free. You can, if you take a photo of that, or if you scan the QR code, you can jump to the website that you can see here on the screenshot. And as you can see, there are already 3 examples here on this screenshot for practicing your German for free. You can do it, for example, by listening to a German song and answer questions about what you hear, for example. That would be the first one. Your band, okay, danke, tschüss. There's also an offer for learning in the workplace, German at work, and then the Germany Lab. We will come to that on the next slide. Yes, this is the website that focuses on music. Okay, danke, tschüss, ist deine Band. Deine Band, that is the name for you to practice your German, listening to German and make a meaning of it, yeah, with music. And zu den Musikvideos on the bottom of the page, there are several videos linked on this website with songs of this band, the band. Okay, next one, please. Work and career. On this website, you can find courses that help you in the work environment. You will find a lot of exercises from A1 to C2 level. So even the ones of you who are already on C1, so C1 level, no problem. You can jump to this site and look around and look for exercises that will help you improve your German. Okay. And here I linked three different online learning tools: undercover mission in the hospital. So this is especially for people of you who work in hospitals or work as a nurse, for example. It's an online game and a very fun way to learn about how work in a German hospital, a work day in a German hospital is like. And well, it's this program, this online game is going to show you how it is all done in German. Mein Weg nach Deutschland is directly focusing on those candidates who really want to go to Germany. And you can find out information on Germany about living, about working, about how to find an apartment. And it's mostly for yeah, for beginners. You can start if you're only on A1 level, no problem. This is also an online tool for you, and it goes all the way up to level B2. Superhero Campus is also an online game that focuses on wordshots, new words, so that you can broaden your knowledge, and that will make it easier for you later to understand more of what is being said, and of course empowers you to express yourself more competently. And learning German outside of class, that is what I already said at the beginning. There's also a video sequence available on YouTube. It's called Learning German with Ida. That is also very funny. So all of you who are interested in soap operas, for example, like to watch those kind of yeah, series on TV, maybe learning German with Ida would be a nice alternative to learning German alone at your desk. Practice German for free of charge is also available on TikTok and Instagram. This is an offer of the Goethe-Institute in the United Kingdom. It's available for free. So just scan the code and jump to the site and try to yeah, interact with TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, a fun way to connect to German and Germany.
Great. So with all the things that Axel just presented to you, we wanted to show you that going to a language class is one thing, of course. Yeah, being in a structured environment to acquire new words, new structures, practice with others, but it's really not enough in our perspective. And that's why we at the Goethe-Institute have put together all of these amazing free resources that allow you to practice, and practice more outside of the classroom. In the remainder, sort of the last 5 minutes of our input, we wanted to also share with you that we offer more than just language courses and language learning resources, things that will, in addition, help you to prepare for your way to Germany. And on the next slide, you will see that, of course, besides our courses, we also offer exams, the Goethe certificate exams that are accepted at German embassies and consulates around the world for visa applications. Also, all the way from A1 through C1, we have different exams that we offer. We also have the so-called Goethe Test Pro for people who study German professionally, who just want to see what their language level is already. And then we're also a partner of Goethe-Institute to offer the test stuff. And all of our examinations are reviewed by the Association of Language Testers in Europe, and all the exams for adults have the so-called Q seal of quality, which means that by having the certificate, you have a certificate that is accepted by embassies across the world, but also you can be sure that you have the language level, have reached the language level that is actually written on your exams. And how can you prepare for the exams? Of course, you can come to our language courses, study with us. In addition to that, and you will see that on the next slide, the Goethe-Institute is providing sample materials, practice materials. So if you click, if you use the QR code and go to B1 set of model exercises for adults, you have one entire set of practice materials, including the listening comprehension and prompts for writing. And I really suggest you make use of that, because doing an exam and doing it well, of course, you need the language level of the exam that you're taking, but you also need to be familiar with the format. And the exams are really meant for you to show that you have the competence to communicate, understand, listening and reading at the level that you're testing for. So don't memorize text for speaking and writing or anything, but really practice actively so that you're familiar with the format for the exams. And these practice materials are available for all levels. And you can download them on our website. We've linked the B1 materials here. And then we'll go to the next slide, please. Axel already mentioned that one of our goals besides the language is to help you with so-called pre-integration. That means like advising and consultation to acquaint you with the German culture in a way. Yeah, we have consultation services across the world with our integration advisors about living and working in Germany, intercultural training seminars that help you prepare for maybe some cultural differences between your own culture and the one you experience in Germany, but also very factual information about the day-to-day life, so that when you first get to Germany, you don't feel too overwhelmed. And this is something where our work together with the colleagues who make it in Germany really overlaps, where we support each other, because their information that they're giving you on the portal helps you to really make it to Germany well, to succeed in Germany, and we have the same mission and work hand in hand to prepare you well. And then if we go to the next slides, I wanted to highlight the portal Mein Weg nach Deutschland one more time. Axel had already mentioned it earlier on, but Mein Weg nach Deutschland is really a comprehensive resource about first steps to Germany, but also in Germany, about family life, everyday life. And you also have a further practice where you can practice your language, but also just access to a wealth of information about cultural aspects of Germany. So if you have not checked it out yet, please do so. I think it will help you both to practice your language further, but also to prepare yourself for your life in Germany. And then last but not least, if you remember at the beginning, Axel told you our motto, so to speak, is Sprache, Kultur, Deutschland, language, culture, Germany. The last part, as you will see on the last slide here, is that across the world, the Goethe-Institute has a lot of libraries, in fact, over 95 worldwide, with almost 1 million different types of media. We also have the so-called online library of the Goethe-Institute, where you can check out ebooks, also audiobooks. And why should you do that? Why should you go to the libraries and check out books? It's another way of engaging with the language, listening to the language, reading the language. And the more you can surround yourself with the German language, the better prepared you will be to use it actively when you go to Germany. So with this, we want to conclude our input. I hope that two things really came across. Number one, language matters. It's your key to succeeding in Germany. Number two, the Goethe-Institute is by your side. We would be happy if all of you learn German with us. But even if you learn German with someone else, keep in mind what we told you about what good language learning should look like. It enables you to communicate actively with other people around you. So thanks for your attention, and we now really look forward to your questions. Anything that comes to mind, put it in the chat, and we're happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this very helpful information. I hope you guys enjoy this presentation as much as I enjoy. Now we will switch to the last part of today's webinar. It's about the Q&A sessions, where we will answer all your questions you have. So you still have the opportunity to ask questions, and Katarina is going to read the question for us.
Yes, thank you for your input. We received some questions, and I think we are digging right into it. The first question is from Anna. Can you also attend classes online?
Maybe I'll answer on that question. So the Goethe-Institute, even before the COVID-19 pandemic, had a quite large portfolio of online classes already. And then when the COVID pandemic hit, we extended our portfolio of online classes, and we realized that even now that in most countries the pandemic is under control, online classes help us to reach even more people. So yes, in pretty much all of the countries where the Goethe-Institute is present, there is some form of online class available, some that are online live, meaning you only have live sessions with a teacher, but we also have formats where you do some live sessions together with some work that you do on your own on our learning platform. So that's very good for people who maybe work or travel a lot and just don't have time to sit in a virtual classroom 3 or 4 times a week. So the answer is yes, we offer online classes in different formats targeted to different groups of learners, people who want to learn every day with a teacher online, or others who maybe only want to learn with a teacher once a week and do some exercises in between on our learning platform. And I can tell you one thing, we have had students now who started learning online and are now at the point where they have gone to Germany, and our experience is they are as successful as the other students in passing the exams and being successful in Germany. Often people wonder, is the German of those people as good as the ones who learn face-to-face? And my experience is, yes, you can be as good. You have to make an effort, as with all language classes, but our online classes can prepare you as well as our offline classes.
And for all of you who are looking for more flexibility when it comes to learning, like when you want to learn, then our online courses are a great way to do that, because as Stefan already said, you can do it at home, you can do it in your car. I mean, I observed that, many of our students use their smartphone to connect to a live session, for example. The flexibility is very important for many of our students. That's why they chose an online course, simply because you're not bound, you're not bound to a certain day of the week where the German class takes part, which is actually the case in that online live streaming format. You always have to go to that class on Saturday morning, and then the lesson takes place via Zoom, for example. In an online course, that is not the case. You can learn at your own speed anytime you want.
Okay, yeah, thank you. This is great news that you have this much flexibility in learning German. The next question is, how do I find an institute in the country where I live?
You can just go to goethe.de and then switch to English, for example. Then all the information on that website will be in English. And then there's, if you look around that website, there is a page where it says institutes all around the world, and then you will find a list of countries that will lead you to the Goethe-Institute nearby you.
Okay, I thought there were sound problems. Sorry. Thank you. Maybe Jean-Marc, do you want to show also our world map maybe?
Yes.
It's also a great way to find a Goethe-Institute nearby and also find other German institutions. This might be an interesting feature if you don't know it already.
So here, when you come on Make It in Germany, you can look by services, and where services, and then you have adversary and contact services, and then you have worldwide. If you click on that, you are coming to our world map, and then here you can look for your country. For example, if I'm looking for my country, is okay. In English, Ivory Coast. So if I'm clicking on Ivory Coast, here I have a possibility to select the institution types, and then I can look for Goethe-Institute in my country, and then I'm going to have here the information where I can find. Oh, sorry, Lena changed. So wait a minute, Ivory Coast. Some primary vetting. So wait a minute. So Ivory Coast.
No problem.
So here, and then I'm looking for Goethe-Institute, and then Abidjan, and that's so maybe some problem, but actually it should work. It should open up here, and then should be able to read the address for the Goethe-Institute or the website for the Goethe-Institute in your country. So that is actually a possibility. You just have some little technical issues for our website, but actually it should work.
Okay.
I just posted the link to our main website. There you find the world map, and on the if you can click on the link and maybe show it on the screen, then I can explain a little more.
Yeah.
So by chat.
Mm.
Oh yeah, here.
You can see it?
Yeah, I see it here.
Yeah, so, exactly. You see that world map in the middle of the page, and then on the left-hand side, you can switch to English. On the upper right-hand side, there's easy. And then on the left-hand side, you see locations, and then you can just type the name of the city or country, or down below that you can just choose city, and you will find a list of cities, and under below that list of countries. And then it will show you if there is a Goethe-Institute in your country, in your city, or maybe nearby in a neighboring country.
Like an example, in my city, okay, here, like you can see, I type Abidjan, is in Côte d'Ivoire, in Ivory Coast, and then I find here the address of the Goethe-Institute, the number, and the email address, and the website also. So you can do that on your. Yes. So thank you very much for the.
Thank you. So the next question is, if I have A1 already and I want to work in Germany, can I make my school continue in Germany as well?
So, Axel, do you want to, or?
Oh, Stefan, go ahead.
So the question is, the person has A1 already, and she wants to go, or he to go to Germany now and then continue the German learning over there. Yeah. In general, we have to say it depends a little bit on the job for which they go to Germany. If they go for a job, for most apprenticeships and also working as a skilled worker, B1 is kind of the required language level. If that is not the case, it depends also a little bit on the embassies to issue the visa. So even if your job does not have a requirement of B1 or B2, the embassies usually require at least an A2 level to go to Germany to also do a further language training. So Katharina, maybe you can say about that also a little bit from the visa side, or Jean-Marc, but in general, our recommendation is always to have at least A2, ideally even B1 to go to Germany, because also the embassies and consulates usually don't, I think, issue visas with just A1 if your goal is to work in Germany, is my understanding. But it also depends a little bit on how the embassy where you apply to view your case, because every decision for visas is always a case-by-case decision.
Exactly. I mean, like Stefan already said, actually, in order to come to Germany, for example, when I'm taking the example of a visa for qualified professionals of a EU blue card, a language skills is not a prerequisite for the visa. So actually, but in the reality is that some embassy still require to ask you to prove that you have A2, like we just heard. So it's always, we always recommend people. I mean, even if you are although you have received your job contract and maybe you won't need German at all in your working environment here in Germany, but we still recommend people to learn German because you are going to live in Germany where everyone speaks German, everything is in German. So that's something that's really, really important. Even if it's not part of the visa process, but you need that for your integration in Germany. Because without German, it's going to be really, really difficult to be part of the society like we just heard today in the presentations.
And one thing I might just want to add, there are some other cases, for example, for people who have B1 already, that the future employer says, okay, you can come with B1, and then they pay even for the B2 course in Germany. That can happen, that the employer says, okay, B1 is enough for you to come and start, and then we pay for your B2 course while you're in Germany already. So just to like comment on this question, can I continue learning German when I go to Germany? You should do that actually. And in some cases, it might even be financed through the employer, who can get also different grants from German agencies for that. It's not a guarantee, but that is an option also.
Okay, thank you for the answer. The next question, do you also have classes for the integration exam? I think she means the integration exam in Germany, right?
Yes, I am.
You mean integration courses that you have to take once you are in Germany? Not exactly, not 100% exactly like that, but we do intercultural trainings in our institutes, and yeah, Landeskunde, if that's what you mean, Landeskunde training. We provide information on Germany, on the political system, but we don't really, I mean, not the institutes that I know do integration courses exactly like they are provided in Germany. Stefan, do you have?
Yeah, I can agree with that. So while we do intercultural trainings, we don't do like integration test trainings, like the integration tests. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. We want to move to Germany with our 12-year-old son. Should he also take up the same levels, or is there anything else for kids which will help him to get admission in school?
What I would say, first of all, is yes, the child should learn German also. And I would say that at the Goethe-Institute, we have specific courses for children and young adults, like youth courses. Why? Because a child who is 12 years old learns differently than a grown-up who is like 21 or 22. So I would recommend, if you and your child start learning German, to find a course for him or her that is meant for children or youth, young adults, because at least at the Goethe-Institute, we tailor those courses to the ways that these younger people learn a language, which is different than adults learn. But absolutely, I would, as a goal, set the same goals that you set for yourself. And actually learning a language together as a family is fun. We have had cases here where the whole family learn together, and it's great. You can support each other. You can even at home designate a German-speaking day where you try to speak as much German as you want. So absolutely, I would recommend that the child learns up to the same level. Just make sure they're in a course that is tailored towards the learning styles and needs of children also.
It's also a good idea to let your child, son or daughter, learn by itself in an individual class, or maybe a young adults class or children's class, and not learn together with your child. The reason, Stefan already elaborated on the reasons, but that is only one part. The other part is that emotional level that you are on once you are in the same class with your child, and also the relationship between you as a parent and your child. Some I have experience since talking to parents who thought it was a good idea to be in the same class with the son or daughter, and then in the end they found out, no, it's not, it doesn't work like that. So that's the advice that I can give you. Let your child be in a different class, not in a class with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting tip, actually, I think, but it's true. I didn't want to let my parents do it.
Otherwise, it can also come across to the child like, oh, I'm learning this only because my parents want to, or even in the same class, and it feels very forced, and it can really be of disadvantage to the family dynamic also. So I support what Axel says, find a class that is tailored towards children and let them learn on their own, and then you can still practice together at home if you really want to.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for the insights. Next question, what documents are required to attend classes in Germany?
What documents, do I understand correctly, what documents does the Goethe-Institute in Germany, for example, or any other language school require?
Yes.
Well, first of all, we need to know your the exact level that the candidate is on. We do a pre-level check. That's how we find out what level you are on. If you are, and then we will look for the appropriate class that you could join. And then, of course, if you have already learned German in your country and have done an exam, then that's what you should present.
And I don't know if the question was also to get like a visa for short-term language study in Germany, if that was the question also, because that really depends a little bit. I mean, like, for example, if you want to go to Germany for 4 weeks in the summer to take a language class in Mannheim or Schwäbisch Hall, then to get the visa from the embassy, a short-term visa, you have to fulfill the same requirements that you would have to fulfill when you go as a tourist. You have to say that you have to show that you have the funds to support yourself, that you have a return ticket to your home country, etc. Those requirements are the same as if you go for like any other short-term trip. The Goethe-Institute that way doesn't sponsor visas for short-term language study. I don't know if that was the question, but other than that, what Axel said, yeah, you will have to buy like the textbooks, of course, for the German course, but I think that's pretty much all we can say to that question.
Okay, perfect. Is there any scholarship available for B1 from Goethe-Institute?
So I think this is a question that differs a little bit from country to country. In general, we can say that besides offering our own language courses, we also have educational cooperations with schools like high schools, middle schools, and universities in each of our host countries. And for those cooperation partners in general, we also have different kinds of scholarships for courses in Germany, but also at our respective institutes in the countries. I think this would be a question that you can direct to your local Goethe-Institute, what forms of stipendium scholarships there are for German learners, because it would be hard to give an answer that is correct for all 158 institutes. So if this is something, if you're learning at a school, for example, and you're wondering what kind of support scholarships there are, contact your local Goethe-Institute to see if they have something to support you.
Great. Next question, how long does it take to become fluent in German language?
Well,
maybe I can try to, because I did that on my own experience. I mean, that's something is really difficult to tell, because I cannot imagine myself like saying that after 1 year I can speak French, because it's the people who can tell you how you speak or how you understand. I know, for example, that 1 year after I was in Germany, I started with my university. And at the beginning, it was difficult to understand what the docent was speaking in the class, also in the lecture. The universities was difficult, but I started to remember that after in the second semester it was getting better, then in the third semester getting better. So it's actually a process with the time. So it's not like in a special amount of time, like after 1 year you're going to be fluent. It's not working like this, because it's really from individual to individual very different. Because I came, for example, with my brothers, and I was someone who speak I was more able to speak than my brothers with who I came together, because everyone has their own experience in learning languages. So be very, very passionate with yourself, because not that you have in your mind that, oh my God, after 1 year I have to be fluent. It's not working like this, because to be honest, German is quite a difficult language, but it's not impossible. I mean, after I'm living here for 17 years now, and I can say that I'm fluent now, but I was also fluent after 5 years or maybe after 3 years. I mean, it depends, but then not a special amount of time.
And I also think that the whole concept of fluent, it's the question, what does it really actually mean to be fluent? I would say the numbers of hours we showed you is roughly to reach a certain level, but to feel comfortable in your everyday life, to communicate, also really depends on, like, to put yourself out there, to use the language, to not be afraid. And I would also say my recommendation would be, especially in the first year, don't just think just by being there your German just magically keeps getting better. I think especially at the beginning it helps to take another language course in Germany and have a more structured environment to improve your German further, but also take all the chances to be immersed by German, to think in German, to communicate in German. And the fluency, I think it's more about at what point do you start comfortable living in German. And this is really something that probably only you can decide. Those numbers of hours we showed you give you a little bit of a sense of how long you have to study in a classroom to be at that level. But to get fluent, yeah, it's hard to tell.
Maybe I can give a story that I learned from my little brother and little sister. They are twins, and then they came to Germany maybe 8 years ago. And I saw on them actually how learning German in the environment can play a big role, because my brother, as of the guys, it was as they arrived in Germany, he tried to look for a football club where you can play with other guys. So it was in an environment where he had the opportunity to speak German on daily basis. And then I saw on him how his German was getting better and better. And then he managed to succeed as B1 exam for the first time. But my sister, for example, it was more difficult for her, because she didn't have a lot of friends at the beginning. She was always at home, and she has to do the exam 3 times. In the third time, she succeeded the exam. And in the second time, when she didn't pass the exam, I tried to change my method. So at home, we were speaking German. I was like, okay, now you have to speak German. So now we only speak German. And then I saw that actually it make an impact on her. Because sometimes, like Stefan as said, people came and then they just think by just being in Germany is going to happen by magic. It's not like this. You have to speak. In order to speak, you have to be together with people. We have to do stuff in order to improve your German. You cannot just sit at home and then going only to class and thinking your German is going to be better by that way. It's not working like this. Just have to be in an environment and then interact with people. That's really, really, really important.
Yeah, thank you for sharing also the personal stories. I think everyone has to find their way. And yes, the next question is, will you have academic and general language classes?
Academic language courses, did you say that?
Yes.
Maybe for studying?
I'm not so sure. Maybe Samira can clarify the question.
I mean, I know in some countries, before I came to Goethe-Institut Hanoi, I was in the United States, we had something like reading knowledge for PhD students of history, for example, like for people who don't really need to speak much German, but who have like the specific need to be able to read German texts. We have something like that, but in general, our courses are general language courses from A1 up to C2 that really focus on general language acquisition. What we do have in the meantime is what we call Fachsprachenkurse, so courses that prepare you for different types of jobs, like German for nursing, German for hotel and restaurant. Academic courses, not per se, but I think if you take, for example, a C1 language level course, the level of discourse in German is so high that it can be compared to the kind of German that an academic would speak. I always say, like, a C1 exam, not every German native speaker would necessarily pass, because it's quite a high level of almost like academic intellectual discourse. So I think once you get to the C1, C2 level, you're getting closer to this kind of language that an academic would use, but we don't have specific language courses just for future academics. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. I mean, that's the advice I would give. You should not look for example, a preparation course that enables you to study German at a university, at a Goethe-Institute, because you might find it somewhere, but you cannot expect to find it at every Goethe-Institute in every country, because the group of candidates who will probably go to study in Germany is actually, depending on the country, of course, quite small. But what you should do is check out if the Goethe-Institute offers or contact them if they offer courses on a higher level, C1 or C2, because as Steffen said, the level of that course, these courses, is actually quite high. If you look at the contents of classes like C1 and C2, I think they prepare you well enough for your university studies.
And really, what you at some point really need if you attend like a German university or PhD program, it's a more specialized vocabulary that you will acquire by also working in that environment. I think in terms of like grammar and the structures, that's pretty universal. Yeah.
Okay. The next question, I think we are, over the time, but maybe you have some minutes left, 5 minutes, so we can have 2 more questions. I think then I will. Thank you so much. There was a question, yes. So Sami, how much is the passing score in A1 and A2?
How much is what? How much is?
Passing score. I'm not quite sure if he or she means maybe how many classes do they need to take?
I think that for the exam, it's usually 60 points, 60% for all the exams.
Yeah.
And that's true for all exams, right? Absolutely, 60%. Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe one thing to mention, some of our exams, B1 and B2, and starting next year C1, also are so-called modular exams. So in the B1 exam, listening, speaking, writing, and reading are separate modules. So for example, you can pass 2 of them, and if you don't pass the other 2, you only have to repeat the 2 that you didn't pass on the first try. So right now B1 and B2 are modular, and C1 also will be modular in the future.
Okay. The next question is again regarding the visa skills, I think. Speaking no German yet, but eventually being employed when speaking English only. Is it possible to get a visa despite not having A1, A2 level skills? Possible employers would be in Rhine-Main area. In other words, is having A1, A2 level mandatory for getting a job visa?
I think the chances would be very low.
I mean, Jean-Marc already said earlier, it's not required for many professions, but Jean-Marc, maybe you can answer that better. Yes. We're not the visa specialists.
Actually, it's not a requirement for a visa. So if you want to work if you find a job, actually it's not a requirement in order to start working here in Germany. To get a visa, a language is not a requirement. But as we learned today, there is some embassy from Germany in your home country that may still want you to have at least A1. I mean, it actually depends on the embassy in your country where you are living. So it's not, but in the law, it's not a requirement. So maybe if your embassy tell you that you should prove German, maybe you can show the website or Make It in Germany, where we explain to the requirement for the different kind of visa. And for example, in Make It in Germany, we didn't want any German language. We just give some recommendation to people to learn German, even if it's in English. Please learn German because it's still relevant, it's still important. But it's not a requirement. It's all at the end. It depends on the embassy. So if the embassy require you to prove that you have German A1, then you have to do that because the embassy is the one who at the end decide if you get the visa or not. So they are.
It may seem a little random. You might think, how can individual embassy decide that? But the embassy has the role to kind of guarantee if they issue a visa to go to Germany that you will, so to speak, succeed and be able to make a good living there. And if they sense that for whatever reason, without that German language skill, you will not be able to do that, and they have any hesitation, then it's at their discretion to say, no, we're not issuing the visa. And that's why it's so hard to say for this or that job, is it really possible without German? Yes, by law, for the job to get the visa, it's not required for all of them. But if the embassy officer believes that the case is only permissible if there is a language level, then they will not issue the visa. So yeah, I think that's all we can say about that.
Yes. And I also think maybe it depends also on the branch where you work. For example, in the IT, I think it's more common that English language skills are enough at the beginning. So, and there are also other ways for IT specialists to come to Germany. So it really depends on many things, like on the embassy, on the employer, and yes. Talking about IT, the next question is, for jobs in the IT domain, analytics and data science, is A2 level sufficient for experienced professionals?
Especially in IT, I think there is a high demand for experienced professionals, and from the cases that I know, for experienced professionals, that would be sufficient to get started, to get hired. The question, we come back to what Jean-Marc said, is A2 also enough to live a meaningful life in Germany? I would question that, but if we just focus on would an IT company like SAP in Germany hire me as an experienced professional with lots of job experience with an A2 German level, I would say the answer is probably yes. My recommendation would be do yourself a favor and learn beyond A2. But to answer the question, I would say yes.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. We also know from employers in Germany, also in the IT sector, that it depends also on the daily work. Some employers work with a lot of clients, for example, where German language skills are quite necessary, where others just programming on the computer, for example. So it will make, as Steffen Kaub said, your life much easier if you're starting learning German after this webinar, right away. I think we have 2 more questions. Then I will close the round. Sorry for the others, but we can talk, I think, forever about this topic. Are there courses offered by Goethe-Institute for preparing language certification exams?
I can maybe say something with the example of Hanoi. We have what we call exam preparation courses. The most popular one that we offer here in Hanoi is the B1 exam preparation courses. I know that the Goethe-Institute in Germany also offer exam preparation courses, and also many other across the world. So I think the short answer is yes. And those exam prep courses can be anywhere from like an intensive 1-week course to up to 3 weeks, I would say. Here in Hanoi, we offer 2- and 3-week exam prep courses, and we also offer them online, so that people who maybe don't live too close to a Goethe-Institute can take an exam preparation course online, and then they travel to a Goethe-Institute or exam center to take the actual exam. So yes, we do have that, and not just for B1, depending on the country, there are different offerings, but yeah, we do have exam prep courses.
Okay, and now the last question. Do all Goethe-Institutes provide information or consultancy on the master's and PhD programs in Germany?
Not that I know of.
That's actually our partner organization, the DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service, DAAD. Goethe-Institute, as we said, is of cultural and language training. The DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service, is your expert consultancy on anything with bachelor's, master's, and PhDs in Germany. So many countries also have DAAD liaison offices. If you go to daad.org, you find information about the closest DAAD office to you.
Thank you. So you can also find a webinar of the DAAD services on our YouTube channel on Make It Germany. There you can learn more about the program and the opportunities given by the institution. So I think that's for today. Thank you so much for participating today and all for your interesting questions. I hope you get some practical insights on how to learn German successfully. And I also like to thank our experts today, Mr. Kaub and Mr. Wimpel, and of course, Jean-Marc, for sharing his also personal view on this case. And yes, we hope to see you in the other webinars next week. Next week will be ZIV with job search and job application and visa, and also the last webinar on living in Germany and what you can expect. Thank you so much from my side. Maybe Jean-Marc, you want to find some closing remarks?
Yes, thank you very much. And as we said at the beginning, take German very seriously if you really want to have a life here in Germany, because actually the first things you want to clarify German language. So that's it. So wish you all the best for your preparation to Germany, and see you next week for another webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Enjoy learning German. It's a lot of fun.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.